Hey everyone! Welcome back to Old Charles, your ultimate destination for coin collecting, history, and hidden treasure in your pocket change. Today, we're taking a closer look at a small but historical coin, the 1961 Canada 1-cent coin. Could this humble penny be worth more than face value today? Let's find out. The 1961 Canada 1-cent coin was struck during an important time in Canadian history. Canada was in the midst of post-war growth, and the economy was booming. These pennies were part of everyday life, used to buy candy, pay for newspapers, or save in piggy banks. Minted by the Royal Canadian Mint, these copper coins became a staple in circulation. But after all these years, is the 1961 penny just pocket change, or a hidden gem? The obverse of the coin features a young Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Mary Gillick. This portrait shows the Queen without a crown, and the Latin inscription reads. On the reverse, we have the classic maple leaf twig design, created by G.E. Kruger Gray, a symbol of Canada's national pride. Below the leaves, you'll see the year 1961, and above, the word Canada. Now let's talk numbers. In 1961, the Royal Canadian Mint produced approximately 129, 289, 1 cent coins. That's over 129 million. These beads refer to the tiny dots around the rim of the obverse side of the coin. The large beads are more spaced out and fewer in number, while the small beads are tighter and more numerous. The large beads variety is slightly rarer, especially in higher grades like MS 65 or above. Now the part you've all been waiting for, the value of a 1961 Canada 1-cent coin. In circulated condition, like what you'd find in old change jars, the coin is worth about 2 to 10 cents. In extremely fine, EF 40, condition, you might get 25 to 50 cents from collectors. Uncirculated coins ***, especially those graded MS 63 to MS 65, can fetch anywhere from $1 to $5 or more depending on the variety. The large beads variety in high mint state, MS 65 or higher, can reach $10 to $25, and even more if certified by a grading service like ICCS or PCGS. Tip for collectors ***, look out for coins with red luster, bright, original color that hasn't toned or darkened. These are more desirable and command higher prices. Want to identify the large beads variety? Here's a trick. Count the beads or observe their size and spacing around the rim. You can also compare the distance between the final A in Regina and the beads. If you're not sure, consider using a 10x magnifying glass or taking it to a local coin shop for evaluation. So, is your 1961 Canadian penny a hidden treasure or just copper history? Either way, it's a fascinating piece of the past that reminds us how even the smallest coins can have a story to tell. The 1961 Canada 1-cent coin comes from a fascinating period in Canadian history. The early 1960s were a time of progress and prosperity. Canada was building its post-war identity, industries were booming, cities were growing, and Queen Elizabeth II was still early in her reign. Having been crowned in 1953, this coin features the first portrait of Queen Elizabeth II used on Canadian currency. It was designed by British sculptor Mary Gillick, and it shows the young Queen wearing no crown, a graceful and classic image that became iconic in the Commonwealth. During this time, the Royal Canadian Mint produced these pennies using 95.5% copper, along with a bit of tin and zinc, giving the coin its familiar reddish color. People used these pennies for everyday purchases, from candy to postage stamps. But not all 1961 pennies were exactly the same. Due to slight changes in the minting process, two main varieties were born: large beads and small beads. These tiny details would go unnoticed by most people, but for collectors, they tell a deeper story. Despite being a common coin back then, the 1961 penny is now over 60 years old, and many have disappeared from circulation. Today, it's a nostalgic reminder of Canada's past, and for coin collectors, a small yet meaningful piece of national heritage. When it comes to coin collecting, condition is everything. A coin's value can change dramatically depending on how well it's been preserved over the years. These coins are heavily worn. The Queen's hair details are faint, and the maple leaves may look flat. These coins are common and usually worth only 2 to 5 cents. Moderate wear is visible, but key design features like the lettering and maple veins are still clear. These coins might sell for 5 to 10 cents. The coin has light wear on the high points, with almost all design elements still sharp. These could fetch 15 to 50 cents, especially if the color is nice. Very slight whereas visible under magnification, but it retains most of its original mint luster. These are more desirable and can be worth $1 or more. These coins were never used in circulation. They still have full red luster, no scratches, and look like they were just minted. 1961 penny in MS 63 to MS 65 condition can be worth $2 to $10, and even higher if it's the large beads variety. Asterisk collectors tip asterisk coins with a bright red tone are called red coins. Over time, copper darkens, so if yours is still red, it's much more valuable. Grading services like ICCS or PCGS will note this on the label as red, RD, red-brown, RB, or brown, BN. So next time you check your old coin jar or inherit a collection, remember to look closely. The condition of your 1961 penny could be the difference between pocket change and a collector's prize. Today, we're diving into the story of a small but iconic coin, the Canada 1 cent from 1978. What's it worth today? Is it rare? And should you keep it or cash it? Let's find out. The 1 cent coin from Canada in 1978 may seem like just pocket change, but it carries a lot of history. It was part of the Canadian decimal coinage system, which has been around since 1858. The 1978 penny continued the tradition of copper coinage before the major composition changes in the late 1990s and early 2000s. In 1978, Canada was under the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, and Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau was in office. This little coin circulated during a very interesting time in Canadian history. Let's take a closer look at the design of the 1978 1 cent coin. The obverse shows the facing right portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin. This version of her portrait was used from 1965 to 1989 and is known for its youthful look. The reverse features the iconic 2 maple leaves on a single twig, designed by George Kruger Gray. It's a classic Canadian symbol representing peace, unity, and the country's rich natural heritage. Diameter ** 19.05 millimeters, weight ** 3.24 grams, composition ** 98% copper, 0.5% tin, 1.5% zinc, edge ** plain. Here's something interesting. Over 919 million 1 cent coins were minted in 1978. That's a huge number, which means most of these coins are not rare. However, some coins with errors or in uncirculated condition may fetch higher prices among collectors. Let's explore more about that. If your coin has wear and tear from circulation, it's typically worth 1 to 5 cents CAD, basically face value or slightly more if sold in bulk. A bright red uncirculated 1978 1 cent coin graded MS 65 by a service like ICCS or PCGS can fetch up to $5 to $15 CAD. Coins with die cracks, off-center strikes, or double dies may be worth $20 or more, depending on the rarity of the error. It's heavily worn and has no unique traits you're just looking to sell for big profit, since it's a common coin. Did you know? Canada officially discontinued the 1 cent coin in 2013. That means coins like the 1978 cent are becoming more collectible each year, not necessarily for high value, but for history and nostalgia. And that wraps up our deep dive into the Canada 1 cent 1978. A coin that may be small in value but rich in legacy. Let's travel back to the year 1978, a time when disco was booming, the first automated cellular call was made in Canada, and Pierre Elliott Trudeau was Prime Minister. In the midst of all this, the Royal Canadian Mint was producing millions of 1 cent coins for everyday transactions. Canada's 1 cent coin has a long and proud history dating all the way back to 1858, when the province of Canada first introduced decimal coinage. Over the decades, the design of the penny has changed several times, but one thing has remained the same, ***, the iconic maple leaf ***, which became a staple symbol of Canadian identity. The maple leaf design used in 1978 was created by George Kruger Gray in 1937 and first appeared on Canadian pennies that same year. It features 2 maple leaves on a single stem, representing unity and the natural beauty of Canada. This design was used for decades until the penny was discontinued. On the front, or obverse, is the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin. This particular version of the Queen's image first appeared in 1965 and was used on Canadian coins until 1989. It shows a young queen without a crown, a style that was common in Commonwealth countries at the time. In 1978, the Royal Canadian Mint struck over 919 million 1-cent coins. At the time, these coins were still made of 98% copper, which gave them a distinct reddish tone and solid feel. They were commonly used in vending machines, cash registers, and even school projects. Despite being mass-produced, the 1978 penny is still cherished today by collectors, especially those looking to complete a year-by-year Canadian penny set from the 20th century. The penny remained in circulation until 2012, when the Canadian government officially stopped producing them due to rising costs. In 2013, businesses began rounding cash transactions to the nearest 5 cents, marking the end of an era for the 1-cent coin. So while the 1978 penny might seem like just an old coin, it actually represents a key period in Canadian history, a time of economic change, national pride, and classic coin design. Now let's talk about one of the most important things in coin collecting, condition. When it comes to the 1978 Canada 1-cent coin, the condition can make a huge difference in how much it's worth. So when you find a 1978 Canadian penny, don't just check the date, check the condition too. It could be the difference between a common coin and a collectible gem.